Dallas police shot and killed a man with a lengthy criminal record after he kidnapped 2 children at gunpoint, his 2 children. It all ended this morning following a chase, crash, and gunfire. Luckily, by then, the children were not with him when it ended. Fox 4's Richard Ray joins us from Dallas Police Headquarters to explain all what happened today. Rich.
Steve, multiple witnesses report seeing Stephen Douglas with a pistol. One says he saw Douglas pointed at a police officer and pull the trigger, though it misfired. The children he abducted in that domestic dispute were safe with his mother when the police chase began. He called her as the chase unfolded.
He was on the phone with me when he died. He said, "Mom, I'm coming home. I'm just about there." He said, "They chased me, but I'm just about there."
A grieving mother on the phone with 29-year-old Stephen Douglas as he ran from police, headed to her house where he'd left his children that he'd abducted after a domestic dispute.
All they had to do was trail him onto the house. He was coming straight here. He would have gave himself up. Instead,
blocks away, Douglas crashed, T-boning a van with a mother and a toddler inside. The mother and child were okay, and Douglas took off running into a nearby auto repair shop. Witnesses inside the shop say they saw Douglas with a handgun. One man says he tripped him.
When I tripped him, he fell down, like right there, and the officer had grabbed him, and then he pointed the gun at the officer, and he shot at the officer, and then I guess the gun didn't go off, and then they shot him.
Police say it all started Saturday with a 911 call from the mother of Douglas' 2 children.
Our complainant called the police from her mother's apartment to report that Mr. Douglas had pointed a gun at her and had threatened to shoot her due to her dating another man.
Police say and neighbors confirm that when she returned to her apartment this morning, Douglas was waiting. She called 911 as Douglas chased her in his pickup, her tire going flat as Douglas continued to ram her.
It's when her car becomes finally disabled and he rams the vehicle. We hear some screaming in the background, and she reports that he grabs the window and with his hands pulls the window and breaks it.
It was then at gunpoint, police say, that Douglas took his 9-year-old daughter and 1-year-old son. The woman who lives in the apartment above the children's mother says Douglas returned with the children while he waited for his mother. She pleaded with him, she says, to give himself up. But you prayed with him and he told you he wasn't going back to prison?
Yes, I prayed with him.
Police say Douglas made calls to several people while they were chasing him, adamant that he was not going back to prison. Still, family members are convinced he could have been persuaded to surrender if he'd made it home.
He don't listen to nobody. He listens to me. I'm his mama. He listens to me. I might have to put my fist on his head or something, but he listens to his mama.
I mean, we heard the sirens in the background on the phone. He didn't make it, man.
Police say they did recover a small caliber handgun after the shooting. Stephen Douglas has a very lengthy criminal record, several assault cases, including aggravated assault in March of this year. And Steve, the officer who shot him has been placed on administrative leave, but as you know, that's standard operating procedure.
Yeah, all right. Let me ask you, Mayo Hodge, he's the witness or the guy who stepped in and tripped the suspect. He said the guy pointed a gun at police, but tell us about it. There's some other witnesses or something who their first accounts tried to claim that he'd been shot in the back, or straighten this out. Where's that coming from?
That seems to happen every time there's a case like this. In fact, I talked to Major Jeff Kottner with the police department here, and he said they carefully went around to each one of those people who had told reporters or somebody else that he was shot in the back, for example. He said in each case, what they found when they questioned the people is they said, well, I didn't see that, but I heard that. And in fact, he told about one case where he says, well, my wife says he was shot in the back. And then they contacted the wife, and she said, well, no, I didn't see it, but I heard that. So in the atmosphere we're living in America today, these things have to be very carefully handled, and I think police have tried to do that in this case.
All right. Richard Ray reporting live. Thank you.